Are you thinking of going to Umrah and you're not too sure what are the other ziyaras that you can go and perform? Well, stay tuned, and then this is for you, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Nice to see you guys again. Hope everyone's well. If you're visiting Mecca and you want to visit other locations and you're not too sure what are the other places that I can actually go to and see. So here's a few ideas for you, inshallah. And these are locations you can go and visit, and they've been approved by the Saudi government. There are other locations to go to, but the Saudi government wants you to visit only these handful of those, and we must be grateful, and we are grateful. Thank you. Now, after you, of course, visited the Kaaba, and there's nothing better than that, then the next place to visit would be to go and climb Jabal Noor, Jabal Hira. It's two names of the same place. So it's a mountain, and this is a mountain where the first revelations occurred. Now, the Prophet ﷺ used to spend time in this cave, sometimes up to a month. They used to stay there before the revelation started. The cave itself is about 4 meters in length and about 1.5 meters in width. And when you climb up there, and it takes about 2 to 3 hours easily to climb. It's not a straight route, and they haven't made it straight for you, maybe because they're trying to stop you from going up there, maybe. But people go there, and you've got to be well dressed, in the sense that it's going to be tiring. There's heat as well at the same time. So I recommend that you actually go in the morning. If you go in the morning, then straight after Fajr, wear trainers, not sandals, flip-flops, anything of that thing. No, you're going to struggle. And plenty of water. So straight after Fajr, you go up, and because it starts getting hot about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you'll feel the heat. That's the wrong time to go then. Or you can go in the evening, after Maghrib, when the temperature is kind of cooling down. That's another good time to go actually and visit. So you go there, and once you're at the top, you'll have the opportunity to go into the cave and inshallah, pray 2 rakah for barakah. If you get the opportunity, you must try to do this. Okay. And then the next place to go is another mountain of significance, historical significance, and that's Jabal Thawr, Mount Thawr. Now, in this mountain itself, when the Prophet ﷺ were immigrating or migrating from Mecca to Medina, they were being tracked by the disbelievers with the intent to assassinate the Prophet. So they and their companions, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, they traveled together and went to this mountain, and hid in a cave. A miracle occurred, that a spider spun its web, and at the same time 2 birds flew, and they built their nest on the side of the entrance and laid some eggs. So when the disbelievers came and they saw this entrance to the cave with the web and the birds sitting there chilling out, they thought, no, there's no one will be inside, because of course the birds will get disturbed, and of course the web will be destroyed. So they carried on. So as the danger passed, thereafter the Prophet ﷺ and Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, they carried on to Medina. So that's the next place to visit. And the third place to visit would be the oldest cemetery in Mecca, Jannatul Mualla. That's where many of the companions of the Prophet are buried there, the family of the Prophet are buried there, the ancestors of the Prophet are buried there. For example, the first mother of the believers, Sayyidah Khadija, they are buried there. The 2 sons of the Prophet are also buried there. Sayyidina Qasim and Sayyidina Abdullah are buried there. Also, the relations, as I mentioned, the uncle, Sayyidina Abu Talib, the grandfather, great-great-grandfather are also buried there. And after that, nearby to Jannatul Mualla is a masjid that you should visit if you can. Is called Masjid Jinn. Masjid Jinn. So the name kind of gives it away slightly, Jinn. It's at that spot the Prophet ﷺ was sitting, reciting the Quran. A group of jinn came, heard the Quran, a portion of the Quran, and later the leaders of the jinn came and accepted Islam at the location. So hence the masjid is named after that event. Opposite to that masjid is another masjid called Masjid Shajara, Masjid of the Tree. Okay. Now, there's another event that occurred there, a miracle that occurred there. At that location, the Prophet ﷺ, while they were preaching to the disbelievers, the Prophet instructed a tree to come, summoned the tree to come over. So the tree uprooted itself, came to the Prophet, offered the salams to the Prophet ﷺ, and then it was ordered to go back again into the location from whence it came from. Okay, now that was a miracle. But of course, the disbelievers saw all of this, still disbelieved. Okay, but that event occurred at that location, hence a masjid was built, named after the event, Masjid Shajara, Masjid of the Tree. So after these locations, then you got two places to visit, which are linked with Hajj. The Plains of Arafah, and during the Hajj season itself, the Hujjaj must go and spend time in Arafah. If they don't spend time there, their Hajj is not complete. It's invalid, basically. You must spend time there. So within Arafah itself, there is a masjid called Masjid Nomura. You probably see on TV during the Hajj season itself, there's a khutbah that occurs, the Imam is in that masjid. Now, the significance of that masjid is that the Prophet ﷺ, during the Hajj season itself in Arafah, were camped at that location. And they were there with 100,000 other companions who came to perform the Hajj. And at that location, whilst they were sitting on the camel, they gave the sermon, the farewell, known as the farewell sermon. Extremely important and simple sermon which touches all of the bases of Islam and what a Muslim should do. Now, so that's all of the locations and places to visit within Mecca, all of the sanctioned, allowed places. In Medina, after you've of course visited the main attraction, which is the Prophet's Mosque, giving your salams, spending time in the masjid, and if you want to go and to see what else is in Medina which has historical significance, and all of these are linked, of course, and links back to the Prophet. Even if you're in Mecca, everything links back to the Prophet itself, himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And same is all of these places, ziyarahs you go, attractions you go to visit, they all are linked back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After you visited the masjid, now when you're looking at the green dome, it's in front of you, the masjid. On the right hand side, east, is the only cemetery in Medina, Jannatul Baqi or Baqi al-Gharqad. These are the names. Jannatul Baqi is the probably more famous name, and it is said that over 10,000 companions are buried in that cemetery. And then on top you've got multiple Ahl al-Bayt, the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are buried there. And then you've got the luminaries, the stars, the superstars of Islam who came after are also buried in that cemetery. Just to give you an idea, all of the wives of the Prophet, except two, Sayyida Khadija and Sayyidina Maymuna. Then you've got the daughters of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are also buried there. Sayyida Ruqayya, Sayyida Kulthum, Sayyida Zainab, and Sayyida Fatima. So they are also buried there, as well as the grandson of the Prophet, Sayyidina Hassan, and the son of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sayyidina Ibrahim, is also buried there. And then you've got the aunties and uncles also buried there, and high-ranking companions of the Prophet also buried there, such as the uncle of the Prophet, Sayyidina Abbas, and the third Khalifa, and twice son-in-law of the Prophet, Sayyidina Uthman, also buried there, and so on. But I will do another video just on the Baqi, on this itself, just to show you who else is buried there, the locations of the graves, where they are buried. So when you visit, you have this kind of mental picture of who's buried where, and it just makes it a bit more easier, to understand the cemetery and the kind of personalities that are there. Okay, so the next place after that to visit is Masjid Qiblatain. Qiblatain. So while they were in Mecca, they used to, of course, face towards the Kaaba and pray. While when they came to Medina, they were facing Jerusalem. And then the instruction came that during prayer in that masjid to face Mecca again. So while they were in prayer, then they basically turned around 180 degrees and started facing Mecca. If you go to the masjid, you will see the mihrab, which of course points and faces the Mecca direction. And there used to be another mihrab which was on the side of which where the Jerusalem is. But after renovations and after taking things, trying to remove as much historical stuff as possible, they've just left on the wall, at the top end of the wall near the ceiling, there's like a prayer mat design made out of, I think probably might be out of plaster, I think, or wooden. So just to show that, okay, the old Qibla was in this direction. Okay, so that's Qiblatain. Then you go into the next masjid, Masjid Quba. Now, the significance of this masjid is that when the Prophet ﷺ with Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, they stopped in the village of Quba, which was just outside Medina. Now, of course, Medina has expanded, so all of the surrounding areas have come into Medina. But at that time, it was a village just outside on the outskirts of Medina. So while they stayed there for a short period of time, so all the companions got together with the Prophet ﷺ, and they built the first masjid of Islam. So the Masjid al-Quba is the first masjid, or is the location of the first masjid of Islam. Also, there is a famous hadith when you go towards Masjid al-Quba, on the side of the entrance door is written there that anyone who performs 2 rakah within Masjid al-Quba, the reward is equal to that of someone performing Umrah. So that's how valuable it is to go to Masjid al-Quba and to perform just 2 rakah of prayer. After that, then you go to the location of where Battle of Uhud occurred. This was the second battle. The first one was Battle of Badr, which the Muslims won. That was the first war. And then the second one was the Uhud. The battle occurred within that plain near the mountain Uhud. Because the first battle, the Quraysh, the unbelievers, lost heavily, they wanted to take revenge. So the following year, I believe it was the following year, they came with a larger army of about 3,000 people and so many camels and horses and so on. And the Muslims had 1,000. But on the day of the battle, 300 fighters of the 1,000 stayed behind or left the camp because they were led by a hypocrite. And so only 700 people went into battle against 3,000 people. So initially, the battle was going for the Muslims, they were winning, and it was looking like they will win. But the archers, which were strategically placed by the Prophet in certain places, they left their locations because they thought this is a good chance to grab the booty of the running away army. And once they left that, they left an opening. So the cavalry, Meccan cavalry, came from the rear end and then attacked the Muslims from the exposed side. And then, of course, then the tables turned. It went against the Muslims. Heavy losses. I think about 85 Muslims were martyred in that battle. The most important of whom was the uncle of the Prophet, Sayyidina Hamza, that was martyred. So if you go now, you will see a square rectangular area which demarcates the cemetery of the people who were martyred in that battle. After that, there was another place that you can go and visit, known as the seven mosques. And these are small mosques. And these mosques are linked with another battle that occurred after Uhud, is known as the Battle of the Trench. So again, this was like when the Meccans were trying to attack Medina. A trench was dug on the outskirts under the instruction of Sayyidina Salman al-Farsi, because he was Persian, and this is how the Persians defended themselves against attacks by digging a trench. So it was a novel idea for the Arabs. They hadn't come across this form of defensive warfare, and so they led the design of the trench, how it should be. But anyhow, at certain locations, people were positioned, and at those are the locations where the masjids were later on built. So you got a masjid named after Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Ali, and so on. So the small masjids, but the major masjid is called Masjid al-Fath, Masjid of Victory. So it's said that at that location, the Prophet ﷺ, they made a prayer for victory, Fath. Okay, and that's bigger than all of the others masjids, and that's it. So these are the places that you can go and visit for ziyarah, to see, and get a feel of and get in touch with the historical events that occurred in Medina. And and of course there are other places you can go which have historical links, but the government does not encourage you, does not really allow you as well to go and visit those places, especially in large groups, and the tour operators don't want you to take you there because then they will get penalties thrown at them. So I hope, inshallah, this is a small snippet of what you can do. I hope this was of some use and some benefit. If it is, please like it. If it isn't, please like it. But more importantly, share it with your friends. Someone who will go, or he's thinking about going Umrah. Maybe it will just give him a bit more of a background of what's possible and what's not possible. And also like our page, subscribe, to our YouTube channel, and my intention is just to make small snippet of videos. This is slightly longer than I wanted, but there's more to discuss, so hence it's slightly longer. But in the future, inshallah, that is the idea, just to make small videos to help you, to aid you, to give you some kind of background knowledge of going to Umrah, inshallah. So remember us in your du'as. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.